जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयोः स्थित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। श्रीरामकृष्णसमारम्भा विवेकानन्दमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Namaskar to all the devotees. Today, a very auspicious day because Sri Ramakrishna's, let's say this, Swami Subodhananda's Jayanti we are celebrating. In this holy occasion, we are fortunate to remember the great soul, great personality, Swami Subodhananda ji. Usually, it is general belief that among people, children are like gods. Why children are like gods? Because they are very pure guilelessness, and then no calculations, and they don't know what is good, what is right, and they don't have any identification. I and mine, this identification will not be there. They see everywhere the sameness. Nobody is stranger for them. For that reason, people believe that children are like gods. As they grow, when they come into contact with the external world, the contamination of the external world is started to increase. They are not contaminated by this Western world, because of that they are called children of God. As they grow and they come into contact with this external world, all the calculation, I and mine identification comes. They lose their own real nature. Their childlike nature slowly started losing it. Because these external sensory pleasures, as they increase, that nature of the childlike nature, the purity, becomes less powerful. But it doesn't mean that it is not possible after growing. It doesn't mean that after growing old, you cannot be like childlike. It is not like that. If anybody strives, definitely it is possible. There is a mechanism. They lose that mechanism to have that nature, to have always balance with the external world, and then real nature within which we have already. That balance, that external forces, we require God consciousness. When God consciousness is predominant, the external forces will not influence upon us. But there are some select few who are by birth, they maintain that mechanism. From by birth, they are always born with that God consciousness. Slowly that manifests. As if when they grow, as if they are very like childlike. We think that they are innocent. They know nothing about this world. It doesn't like, it's not like that. It's not like that. They are well aware of this world. They are not ignorant, but they know, they are more intelligent, they're wise. We think that they are innocent, they don't know anything. We think that they are innocent, they don't know anything about this world. But they are more very intelligent, wise, because they know the transitory of this world. They know the impermanency of this world, which is permanent, which is not permanent. They have got that viveka, discrimination. That God consciousness, which is predominant in them by birth, they know very well what is real, what is apparent. Such a person was born, is a great, one of the greatest disciples of Sri Ramakrishna among 16 disciples, including Swami Vivekananda. His name is Swami Subodhananda. His pre-monastic name was Subhash Chandra Ghosh. He was born on 8th November 1867 in Calcutta. His parents were, his father's name was Krishna Das Ghosh and mother Nayantara. Krishna Das Ghosh, very pious, very traditional. Even though he was very traditional by nature, he was a member of Brahmo Samaj. There was only one temple near Tanzania, Calcutta, Shankar Ghosh Lane in Calcutta. They had house, and there were only one temple, Siddheshwari Kali Mandir, Tanzania. They were very devoted. So he's a Subodh Chandra Ghosh was born to them. Education, say academic education we get from schools and colleges, but real life education starts from home. So he was taught all the moral values from Ramayana and Mahabharata and Bhagavata by his mother, Nayantara. From very childhood, this Subodh Chandra Ghosh was very pious and very devoted, but very shy nature. And very childhood, as we have already discussed, childlike nature. And he had one fear. He had fear for darkness. He never used to go out where there is a dark. One day, his mother, to remove his fear, this Subodh Chandra Ghosh, Subodh, and then other relatives and his friends, they're making so much of noise in their house. So how to control these boys? So his mother made a plan to do some prank. So she wrapped herself with wet sheet, covered herself, and suddenly came and did some prank before them. All the children got frightened. They started shouting. Suddenly, she removed her blanket. Then these boys, especially Subodh, noticed, oh, this is my mother only. She has done like this. From that day onwards, he lost that fear. So he was able to overcome that fear of darkness. See, here you have to notice. Generally, what we do, children, to control children, what the people make, to bring some fearful thoughts and sell some stories so that they will be controlled. This is not the way of teaching. See, here we have to learn what we have to learn. Remove that fearness. That is Swami Vivekananda said, the moment you fear, you are nobody in this world. Fear is the obstacle for every progress, whether it is secular or spiritual. To remove that fear, unnecessary fear. Fear should be there, what for? To do something wrong. For that, we should have fear. what is obstacle for progress, our spiritual progress, or our secular or any study progress for our own life. Fear is very dangerous. To do something wrong, to do stealing, to tell a lie, you should have fear. But you should not have fear for which is obstacle for our progress, obstacle for our life. So this is how, see how their life is teaching us. And then this boy, Subodh, is a very brilliant student. And then he was gifted in mathematics and very good student. And his father told him, see, if you score well in exams, I will find out any girl in very from aristocratic family. I will give marriage. See, his father did not notice his nature. Then Subodh was got frightened. Why? I am not interested in marriage. I want to lead a pure life. Then what he did during exams, intentionally, deliberately, he failed in exam. Then they asked, why did you not write exam properly? Why did you fail? Then they asked, no, I am not interested in marriage. If I pass through in good marks, you will give me marriage. I am not interested. Then there ends his proposal for marriage. And as I told already, Krishnadas Ghosh was a member of Brahmo Samaj, and Brahmo Samaj journal used to come. In one of his journals, there's an article about Sri Ramakrishna Ukti, the sayings of Sri Ramakrishna. It was given to Subodh. After reading Sri Ramakrishna's article about Sri Ramakrishna, he so much eagerness to see Sri Ramakrishna. He requested his father to take him to Dakshineshwar. Then father promised him, yes, after your exams, during holidays, I will take you. See, anything in this world, suppose once you get desire, whether it is material things or anything else, until we get, we will become very restless. Just for example, if you want to buy mobile, you have decided to purchase new mobile. And yes, somebody says, I will buy one mobile for you. Somebody says, tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Then when the next day, when that sunrise will happen, when that person will come, take me and purchase this mobile, that restlessness will start. It happens in everybody's life. And similarly, it happened to him also, Subodh, but not for any material things, but his inclination for spiritual life, spiritual attainment. He was became so restless to see Sri Ramakrishna. So one day, without giving information to his parents, he and his friend Kshirod both started walking towards Dakshineshwar. They don't know the way, how to go. They lost their way. Somehow they landed some other place, somewhere. They inquired how to go Dakshineshwar. They guided him. So all the way by walk from Dantani, Calcutta is very far away from Dakshineshwar. By foot they went to Dakshineshwar. So as soon as he reached Dakshineshwar, so many people were sitting around Sri Ramakrishna. See, he is by birth, Subodh was coming from very aristocratic family, and he had a shy nature, I already told. Then he told his friend, "You go inside, and I'm afraid to go inside. I don't know how to behave, how to show proper etiquette, all those things. I don't know. This is the first time for me to seeing a sadhu as a holy man. You go." So he agreed. But he was standing at the threshold of Sri Ramakrishna's room. Then Shirok went. He told, "We are coming from Calcutta." Then Sri Ramakrishna noticed from a distance, "Who is that gentleman standing there at the door? Come inside." Sri Ramakrishna invited him. Then somehow he lost that fear. Then he came inside. Subodh came inside. "Oh, you are from that Shankar Ghosh lane, Shankar Ghosh family. Are you belong to Shankar Ghosh family?" Then, how did you know? "Yes, many times I visited your place." Sri Ramakrishna used to visit at Tanzania, the Siddheshwar Kali temple. Now and then, he told, "I have seen. That time you were not born yet. I know that you will come." Sri Ramakrishna he could scan anyone. What is he? See, he's such a, Sri Ramakrishna is so powerful. Any person comes, what is his samskar? All his samskar is just in one look, he could scan whole history of that person. "I know that you will come." Then Subodh told, "If you know already, why so much time you took to bring me here?" "No, everything will happen at the proper time," Sri Ramakrishna said. Then Sri Ramakrishna advised him, "How did you come?" Then we came on foot. By walk we came. "Oh, how will you go back?" Then he said, "No, we'll go back by walk only." No, you take money, a boat you go." No, I don't want to go by boat." "Why?" "Because I don't know swimming." "Because suppose the boat capsize, what will happen?" "I don't know swimming." "Okay, all right, bye. You can go by coach. You will hire a coach and can go." Then suppose refuse. No. We'll go by walk." "No, you are small boy, small kids, young boy. It will be very difficult all the way. Already you are come by walk. Then again going by walk, it will be difficult. It will be tedious." No. No, we'll give. We don't have money, he said. "No, I will give money." Then see, this Subodh was very outspoken. As I already told you, childlike nature. Outspoken. "No, how do you get money? You are a sadhu. From where you get money?" No, don't worry. There are so many devotees are coming, they give. I keep. See, that is guilelessness you can see from in this boys both. Nothing to hide, no fear to speak. Whatever comes, whatever he thinks, he speaks. That is the basic quality for spiritual life. You can notice. See, they need not teach big philosophy, big things, but very life itself teaches us. Then Sri Ramakrishna said, "Okay, all right." See, he allowed them to go because he was very much adamant. Subodh was very adamant. He did not take money from him. All right. Sri Ramakrishna advised Subodh, "You come on Tuesdays and Saturdays." His usual way of telling Sri Ramakrishna to all these disciples to come on Tuesdays and Saturdays, because Tuesdays and Saturdays is a very auspicious day for Divine Mother. So he always used to insist all these disciples to come on Tuesdays and Saturdays. But Subodh said, "No, it's not possible. Because already without telling my parents, I have come. If I come to know we are visiting you, they will object us. It is not possible." Then Sri Ramakrishna also for whatever he says, it should be done. The Sri Ramakrishna said, no, whatever comes from my mouth, I cannot take by my body. What I say, you should come on Tuesdays and Saturdays. If I say somewhere, if I will go, that I should go. It will make me to go there. Because Sri Ramakrishna is embodiment of truth. He is a personified, truthful. Truth personified. So whatever comes from his mouth, it should be implemented. It will be implemented. See, these are the things we have to learn. The truthfulness, guilelessness. This is the quality of spirituality. This is the mechanism. This is the mechanism to counteract these external forces, external world. Even though you are in the midst of the world, material world, how to transform ourselves towards God. This is the basic quality. That is what he is teaching. See, Sri Ramakrishna, it seems for us, it is very simple statement. A simple conversation. No, it is a profound ideas, deep message. It is hidden in this statement. The very basic thing in spiritual life is the truthfulness. That's what Sri Ramakrishna showed. So, then ultimately, Subodh was forced to agree to come on Tuesdays and Saturdays. And then frequent visit, but it is we know very less about Sri Ramakrishna and Subodhananda's conversation. Hardly we get in Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, because Subodh always used to come when there were no devotees. When nobody used to be there, that time used to come and meet. Whatever we have received message and reminiscences about Swami Subodhanandaji and with Sri Ramakrishna's, with the conversation between Subodhanandaji and Ramakrishna's life, only through his mouth, whatever he has said. So a frequent visit used to happen. And the teaching started learning. He started learning many things. Then what purpose for which he has come? Not just for that, out of curiosity, he did not come to Sri Ramakrishna. The purpose is to realize God. Then he asked how to conquer lust. Sri Ramakrishna advised him how to practice, how to conquer this lust and turn towards God. Then Sri Ramakrishna said, simple advice. When you go towards east, automatically west is left behind. When you go towards God, you need not worry about your weakness. Most of us, what we do, something we want to do, achieve something, we think about more and more, we concentrate about our weakness rather than thinking about that what is the positive things. Thinking about our goal. Don't think about your weakness. You think about your strength. Your strength is God realization. That was the teaching he received. Then one day Sri Ramakrishna asked Subodhananda, that time Subodh, how do you think about me? He said. It is usually Sri Ramakrishna used to ask many of his disciples, what do you think about myself? Then he was, as I told, Subodh always outspoken, straightforward. Many people they tell so many things. Unless I myself have experience about yourself, how can I say something about you? Because if people say that you are a great man, but I should have experience. Sri Ramakrishna is the greatness of Guru and Shishya, you see. If any other person, what will happen? You arrogant fellow, they may say. But Sri Ramakrishna was not like that. Yes, that is right. You should test. That is the beauty of Sri Ramakrishna's teachings. He gives freedom. He understands the psyche of his disciples. what is his strength and what is his weakness. And Sri Ramakrishna had a unique type of teaching. See, Sri Ramakrishna used to notice that his disciples, what is his weakness, what is his strength, and how to make his weakness as strength. See, Subodh, by nature, is a very childlike. Because of that God, this childlike nature, if you for ordinary business world, Vyavaharika, this world, he'll be fooled. But the same that childlike nature can be transformed into the towards spirituality, spiritual upliftment, that will become the strength. Nobody can deceive them. This is the main teaching for us. Everybody, every one of us will have something good, something bad. We think there is something, weaknesses also will be there. That weaknesses can be transformed into strength. If you have desire for something, some material things, the same desire can be turned towards God. That is the way of teaching. That is why we call Sri Ramakrishna the great master. See, Sri Ramakrishna's life is there in Bengali, written by Swami Subodhananda ji, Sharat Maharaj. It is written in Ramakrishna Lila Prasanga. But in English, the title of the book is the Sri Ramakrishna the great master. Why the great master? See, we will not get such a master in this world. Because he can understand his pupil, he can understand his disciples, his students, what is his weakness, what is his nature. So through that nature, how we can instill that strength in him. That is the greatness of the great teacher. Then, all right, Sri Ramakrishna asked both. So how to realize God? Then Sri Ramakrishna advised him, you do meditation, japa, all those things regularly, practice, take the name of the Lord. It is the usual way of telling Sri Ramakrishna. Then Subodh said, if I am to do this meditation, after coming here also you are asking me to do meditation, japa, what is the use of coming to you? I can go some other guru. The Sri Ramakrishna laughed. All right, you need not do anything. Daily, morning and evening, you remember me, that's all. See, a simple teaching. See, by remembering Sri Ramakrishna itself, enough for him. And slowly he was understanding by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna, he understood that the power of Sri Ramakrishna. Slowly understood that he is avatar. Then as days goes on, Sri Ramakrishna was suffering from cancer. And this Subodh was very fond of tea. Whatever he doesn't want to miss. Anything he can miss, but he doesn't want to miss tea. Morning tea. So when Sri Ramakrishna was suffering from cancer, so many doctors used to come and treat him. Then Subodh said, Sir, Baba, you are in Dakshineshwar, it is so damp area because of that proper ventilation. Because of that only you got this sore throat. It will be all right. But Sri Ramakrishna also, he was a childlike. See, those spiritual people, once they become spiritual, they'll become childlike. They'll not have any calculations. So as soon as Subodh said, daily you take tea, he called Rakhal, Brahmananda. Rakhal, Subodh is telling, he asked me to take tea, so give me tea. No, Subodh he does not know anything. This boy is still young boy. If you take tea, you will get in more, it will aggravate. You should not take. Then Sri Ram, is it so? Then he called Subodh. Subodh, they are telling you, I should not take tea, they are telling. See, it seems it's very simple. It is it look as if it is very silly, but you can observe that the so guilelessness, so simplicity, so much of simplicity in them. See, that is the nature of child. See, it doesn't mean they don't know anything about this world. They are well aware of this world. They are well aware of this materialistic world, but they are not attached. However, they are detached to this world, always in the God consciousness. That is why they become like child. That is the basic quality. You should not have any calculations. Just simple thing. This outspoken, nothing hidden. Nothing is hidden in this, in that. And after Mahasamadhi, Sri Ramakrishna's Mahasamadhi, Subodh was engaged in doing austerities. He could not bear the separation of his guru. The pang of separation he could not bear. So he left his house and came to Bharanagar. By that time, all the direct disciples, including Swami Vivekananda, they were staying in Bharanagar, and they formed their mutt in Bharanagar. The formally Subodh took a sannyasa and got the name Swami Subodhananda. And Subodhananda, he did not give many lectures and all those things. But very life itself is a great lecture, great teaching for us. Become very easily accessible. If everybody wants anything, something to know, all the brahmacharis and devotees used to go to him. And in his simple teachings, he used to solve their problems. And then he used to never claim himself, it is mine. It is all I learned from Sri Ramakrishna, my Gurudeva. That was his, always, he was completely immersed in Sri Ramakrishna. Whatever Sri Ramakrishna is, it's a Veda Vakya. It is a Shastra Pramana. See, Sri Ramakrishna loves Swami Vivekananda Narayan very much. Then one day, somebody asked Subodh, is Trailinga Swami, those days Trailinga Swami is a great saint of Varanasi. He lived around 280 years. He lived for 280 years. He was great soul, Brahmagnani. Somebody asked, who is great? Is Trailinga Swami is great or Swami Vivekananda is great? Then Subodhananda answered, without any thinking, Trailinga Swami is the greatest, he said. But Swami Vivekananda, Narayan is Shiva himself. If anybody criticizes Narayan in front of Master means Sri Ramakrishna is to tell, if anybody criticizes Vivekananda, that means at that time Narendranatha, he is criticizing Shiva himself. It was told by Sri Ramakrishna. But literally, the Subodhananda took it seriously. And he was so much love for Vivekananda. Whatever Vivekananda used to say, he used to follow. And he used to advise every day, even at the age of after passing away Swami Vivekananda, he never used to miss going to the temple of Swami Vivekananda. And his room, very next to Swamiji's room, his room was there, adjacent in Bellumat. And every day he used to go to his room and do pranams. Vivekananda. And Swamiji also used to love him so much. Subodh, they used to call Koka Maharaj. Because in Bengali, Koka is child. Because he is the youngest among all the direct disciples. And Swamiji used to make fun of him very much. Then one day, after Swamiji returned from America, many of his Western disciples had come. Then he said, Oh, Subodh, because he was now he was very much reluctant to meet any devotees, and especially women devotees. Then purposefully Swamiji used to send to go to those devotees and talk to them. No, 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 I will not go. See, then Swamiji used to tell, see, if you don't tell where they will go, we are all disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. Swami Sri Ram, our Gurudeva has told, all women are mother herself. All women are embodiment of mother, divine mother. You see them as mother or your daughters. Then when Swamiji has told, then he started talking to women devotees. One day, the Western devotees had come. Swamiji's Western disciples. Then Swamiji is very mischievous. Swamiji asked Subodh, go and talk to them. No, 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 Baba, I cannot go because I don't know English. I cannot speak English. No, nothing to worry. Very simple. When they say thank you, you tell I don't care. When they say thank you, just you say like this, I don't care, you said. So, is it so? Is it that much only? Okay, all right. Then even they served something to them. Then those action disciples, thank you, Swamiji. I don't care, he said. Then they got surprised. Why? If he said thank you, why he's telling I don't care? Then later on understood it's all done by this Swamiji. He is who is the main mischievous Swamiji. So he used to make fun of him like this. See, spirituality doesn't mean that always you should be very serious, long face. This is not the spirituality. So they made this whole spirituality just like very funny, more spiritual, more enjoyable. Spirituality doesn't mean that you always sit long with long face. Not only you are making your long face, making others also long face. This is not spirituality. Spirituality means it's joy. Because to get ultimate joy, that absolute joy, you should be joyful. So every day-to-day life, even regular day-to-day life also, you should be joyful, cheerful. That was they shown in their life. These great, they said, what we have to learn. If you remove stress, even ordinary life, forget about spiritual life. Your ordinary life, even secular life, is so much of stress. We are suffering from stress, misery, all those things because you don't give little time for fun. You are not giving little time for stress-free life. See, how nicely they're teaching through their life. How one can make ourselves stress-free. So whole life their life itself is so much of teaching. Many things we can learn from them. And a similar one day it happened. Swamiji, after returning from America, he ordered all the disciples and his disciples and monastic brother disciples. See, it is our duty to spread the message of Sri Ramakrishna. So everyone should prepare themselves to give lecture. So in my class, usually in our monastery, after dinner, we'll have night class. So in turn, everyone should speak something or the other. So particularly Subodhananda's turn had come, and he was very much reluctant. He was fearful to speak. Then because he was youngest among all the brother disciples. Then he came. He said, then all making laughing. What Subodh is going to speak. They were very much eager to listen because he was very shy. He never used to come out to speak anything. Then as soon as he sat, that whole building started shaking because that time, during I think 1901, a big earthquake happened, and outside trees fell down, and some wall also fell down. Then all they came out because of the earthquake. Then finally, after this, was about to start to give lecture. Then Swamiji made fun of him. Suppose, Koka, you are given earth-shaking lecture. Earth-shaking lecture he gave. The all started laughing. So as soon as we were about to start, to earthquake him. For that reason, Swamiji said, you gave earth-shaking lecture. And one day, Swamiji was always meditative. Whole night, adjacent to Swamiji's room, he was Brahmanaji and Koka Maharaj. This Subodhananda was staying. And about midnight, 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, till then Swamiji was meditating. Suddenly, Swamiji felt to have hookah, pipe. Then he was just thinking, and he came out, and Subodh was ready with hookah and giving. So Swamiji became so delighted, so much delighted. He was so happy. Subodh, I had the desire to this hookah you have made ready. Give me any boon, I will give you. Whatever boon you ask, I will give, he said. Then Subodhananda, he thought a little while. See, everything I got from Gurudeva, Sri Ramakrishna, everything, he has given everything to us. What more I can have? Then Rakhal Maharaj, Swami Brahmanaji insisted to Koka Maharaj, Subodhananji. Koka asked, don't leave, ask something, he will give. Because that Swamiji, all the disciples, all the brother disciples consider Swamiji himself Shiva. He's a Bhola Shankara, whatever he has, he will give. Then Subodhananji thought, spirituality, God relation, this already he got from his Gurudeva by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna. Because he is fond of tea, you see. He was fond of tea. He said, Naren, in next rest of my life, I should never miss morning tea, he said. All right. Swamiji blessed him. Yes, you will have it. Until then, see, till his last days, never missed, Swami Subodhananda never missed his tea, morning tea. And surprisingly, where nothing was available, somehow he used to get morning tea. See, that is the power of Swamiji. And the love for among brother disciples, we see how that real love, brotherhood, and spirituality simultaneously, at the same time, love and detachment, everything you can see in their life. So finally, before I conclude, one thing I want to say. This Subodhananji's life and direct disciples' life, what we can learn from them. See, anything, whatever we have, our strength, we should know our strength, we should know our weaknesses. That weaknesses, see, Sri Ramakrishna, his life, his teachings, these direct disciples of life and their teachings, it is nothing but Sri Ramakrishna's extended teachings. These direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna is Sri Ramakrishna's own teachings extended. That's an extension of his teachings. We have to read their life because there are so many incidents. There is lack of time. You cannot complete all those incidents. But one should read them. It is available. So very beautifully collection of their life and teachings. There is a book called God Lead With Them. And similarly, Sri Ramakrishna's household disciples, they lived with God. The two books are very inspiring, very amazing. See, each disciples of Sri Ramakrishna is amazing, inspiring. Their life itself is sufficient. Whole Shastra, whatever Veda, Purana, Upanishad, what we read, what we understand by reading, you can you can see the practical you can see in their life. So, in this holy occasion, I pray to Sri Ramakrishna, Mother, Swamiji, and Swami Subodhananda, and all other disciples to bless us all so that we can also uplift ourselves towards God. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampadratavigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidhyam Tam Ramakrishnan Shirasa Namami.